This is Just Nigeria. Coming up,
the first day he made profit, the second day he lost, and the third day everything was completely gone.
click to scam. We look at how internet fraudsters in Nigeria prey on victims. And slaying on a budget. We share with you tips on looking good without breaking the bank. Also, combating climate change. African scientists develop pollution sensors that record and monitor air quality. Plus,
hi, I'm Lisa Simonu. Check me out.
me, the social entrepreneur, passionate about reforming education and increasing its access in Nigeria. Welcome to Just Nigeria from the BBC and Channels TV, where we bring you the stories being talked about by the social media generation. I am Wale Fakile. Our top story this week. Now, in recent years, efforts have been made by the Nigerian authorities to combat scammers involved in advanced fee fraud, commonly called 419. This year, the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, declared 80 internet fraudsters wanted for conducting the biggest scam in the country's history. 77 of these alleged fraudsters were Nigerians. In this special package, Kunle Falayi explores for Just Nigeria how internet fraudsters still prey on victims.
Just like in many parts of Africa, Nigeria has seen a substantial growth in access to the internet with close to 112 million users, according to government figures. However, the World Wide Web is a breeding ground for scammers who are out to reap where they did not sow.
Internet fraud is rampant in Nigeria. Residents here will easily narrate about the so-called Yahoo boys, a term given to scammers who mostly use online services to target their victims, an advance fee scam commonly known as the Nigerian Prince scam, and most recently, the business email compromise targeting companies, its employees, customers, or partners. Farouk remembers vividly how he lost his savings to a scammer who was promising high returns on forex trading in a deal whose returns were looking very attractive.
I'm a member of one of Nigeria's biggest online social forums, and there was this guy I met on the platform. The guy is basically into forex trading, so I was captivated by his earning results, which was very, very wow. I was like, okay, this guy, let me add him up on WhatsApp and let's have a business deal. So it was like he would trade for me, and at the end of the day, we share the profit. So, and after like a week, the first day he made profit, the second day he lost, and the third day everything was completely gone. So I told the guy that, okay, this my account that you have blown, how are you going to rectify the issue? And he said, I should give him 7 days. That within 7 days, everything will be fine. After 7 days, the guy blocked me, and that was how I lost my entire amount on the forum, on the trade.
Did you do any sort of background check before you went into this deal with him?
Actually, I didn't do any background check, because what really motivated me to enter that business deal was that the result that I was seeing on the forex platform that he was trading on. So that was what really moved me to enter a business deal with him.
These online scams are not only targeted at Nigerians. Recent reports show that there has been an overflow of the crimes into neighboring countries such as Ghana and as far as the US. An American-based internet security firm, Agari, showed in a recent report that about 90% of the business email compromise groups operate out of Nigeria. Another research by Better Business Bureau also shows that Nigerian-based crime rings have orchestrated romance scams that led to personal losses of nearly $1 billion in the US and Canada since 2015.
Whichever form of scam it is, it often takes a bit of convincing for the fraudster to hit the jackpot. So what's the mind of a fraudster like?
We meet in Kedili, an IT expert, to decode how most common scams in Nigeria are structured.
Newer ways of doing it are actual phishing emails where people try and get the PIN of your bank card by saying, oh, this is your bank. Basically, it's branded as if it's your bank. And, it basically requests for either your account number or for your PIN or your card number or a combination of these different things, right? We've also seen simulations of like online login pages where the link just redirects you to the wrong page and you put in your details and then they have your details and then they clear out your account.
But today, what would you say is the most common form of online scam that we see around here?
I think emails with invoices saying, oh, we've sent you a money order or something. Click on this link, right? Those are also very common. And a lot of the time they come masked from companies that you may already know and that you may be doing business with.
A 2017 FBI report noted that at least $5.3 billion was lost through online scams between October 2013 and the end of 2016. In more than 40,000 cases of business email compromise worldwide, some of which had strings attached in Nigeria. Chuks, a cybercrime lawyer in Lagos, explains why the criminals continue to thrive in spite of laws that could otherwise protect the citizens.
Generally, the Nigerian Cybercrimes Act of 2015 basically prohibits certain criminal actions which could be, which could happen online. Say, for instance, phishing. Under Section 32 of the Cybercrimes Act, anyone convicted of the offense of phishing will be punishable for a term of imprisonment of 3 years or a fine of 1 million naira.
Then what can a victim do to seek justice under the law?
One could very well contact his bank, his or her bank, at the earliest possible time to ensure that various security measures are taken to either block the account in the meantime while they sort out the security issues, or better still, report to the police officer, to the Nigerian police force, who will then take appropriate action in that regard.
With scores of people losing their hard-earned money to online scams every day, we return to Nkedelim and we asked her for tips on how to protect one's income from scammers.
I would say if it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. Always verify the source. Sometimes websites look as if they are from a service provider, but they're not. Don't give out information that your bank or any service provider has told you do not give out, and this is a secret information, right? Make sure that you have secure passwords. I think that's also very important because apart from these phishing attempts, there are also bots that are set up that basically just try and hack for a particular password. Use symbols, use numbers, use upper and lower case and special characters in your passwords to make sure that they're very strong. Also make sure that you are careful with what you share on social media platforms, because on there, a lot of the time you disclose information that is sensitive. And just be careful when you're visiting websites as well. Sometimes you get a warning, this website isn't secure. If you get these warnings, it's better not to visit than to visit. So look out for those, red flags. As I said, don't be greedy. You didn't win the lottery if you didn't play it.
Kunle Falayi there for Just Nigeria. So are other countries ensuring cyber safety and dealing with internet fraud? Let's see this week's 360 Roundup. Rwanda's National Bank says there have been 8 million financial cyber attack attempts each year since 2015. The police also recovered about $3 million in 2017. To combat online fraud, the country has established an information security faculty at its police college. In China, the police have busted about 16,000 gangs in the last 4 years. It has also solved more than 300,000 online fraud cases and charged about 77,000 people to court. Some internet companies also assist the police by offering technological support, such as big data collection. And finally, the police in Singapore set up an anti-scam center to disrupt activities of scammers earlier this year. At the center, police work with banks and online marketplaces to swiftly freeze accounts in question. In addition, phone companies are immediately alerted to terminate phone lines used by scammers. This week's 360 Roundup. Do drop us a comment on Twitter at GistNigeriaTV if you've ever experienced internet fraud. Moving on, the festive season is here and Christmas parties and red carpet gigs are fast becoming a thing. For some women, Looking good, or slaying, as it is fondly known, is a priority. But how do you slay without necessarily breaking the bank? Nkechi Ogbona tells us more.
Hair, makeup, skincare, and even clothing and accessories are among beauty items people in Nigeria are willing to invest in. The results? It's all about boosting the confidence and slaying, as it is fondly called. The global personal care industry is valued at over $400 billion, and Africa accounts for 3% of that figure in sales. Valued at over $3 billion, the Nigerian beauty and cosmetic market is expanding, with women constantly looking for ways to satisfy their beauty needs for less. We meet Toyosi Ajayi, a middle-class earner in Lagos, who tells us how much she invests in personal grooming on a monthly basis.
Say for my nails, I prefer to do acrylic because it lasts longer. I would spend about $22 in a month on the average. My hair, I love to make braids. On an average, I spend about $20.
Does this current economic situation of the country affect, say, your spending behavior or even your buying patterns?
Of course it does. It has to. Before now, you could probably spend a whole lot more on makeup. But now, you can't. You have to be wise with spending because the economy is not smiling.
Although Nigeria's economy is still recovering from a 2016 recession, 11.37% inflation rate, and a currently weak purchasing power, the over 200 million population gives Africa's most populous nation an edge over its counterparts as an investment hub for the beauty market. Even in tough economic situations, a good number of people will set aside a budget for personal grooming, especially in a city where there are constant movie premieres, parties, and other red carpet events. Let's now meet one entrepreneur who serves middle to high-end clients in Lagos. How much would you charge for a standard hairdo as against the red carpet look?
Average hairdo in Nigeria in my store is ranging between $30 to $100, and the installation can cost about $10 to $300.
Hair and cosmetics are one part of personal grooming. The other equally important part is clothing and accessorizing. We meet Mariam Babalola, a fashion designer with a liking for low-cost designs.
Sometimes we work on a budget, and sometimes if you want to look really good, you can have like $150. That would work. Sometimes we get people that has a lower budget, but if you want something extremely good and gorgeous, I'm sure you'll be ready to spend on what you want. Something like this, you can wear it to a wedding. You can actually wear it to a red carpet, and it doesn't even cost $100. It's one of our ready-to-wear, yes.
Personal finance expert Arese Ugu says it is possible for women to look beautiful on a budget, but they need the following tips.
So number one, don't let social media dictate your budget. These days, we tend to make a lot of our purchasing decisions from social media and what we see that's trending, but it's important for you to understand that most influencers and celebrities are actually walking billboards for many brands, which means they get things for free and they get paid, to wear hair and makeup and all of that stuff. So number two, learn how to do stuff yourself. Again, social media has created a huge platform that gives you lots of videos and information to learn how to do things like your makeup and your hair by yourself. Number three, wig life is the best life, guys. Like, wigs these days are so common that they have different price ranges. And the good thing about it is you're using it for a really long time. For example, this wig I've had for more than 5 years. So the most important thing is to understand that as much as we want to look fabulous, we have to do things that our income can support, and you have to find a balance between building your financial future and looking good. So don't break the bank, guys, because you want to look beautiful.
That's how to slay on a budget. Still ahead on Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels TV. Scientists develop low-cost air pollution sensor to record and monitor air quality in Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back to Gist Nigeria, the show for today's social media generation. I am Wale Fakile. Coming up, meet Lisa Sumonu, the social entrepreneur passionate about making education accessible to all. That's on Check Me Out. But first, the World Health Organization says air pollution kills an estimated 7 million people worldwide every year. Many of these deaths are in sub-Saharan Africa. Solomon Sewanja reports from Nairobi for Gist Nigeria that African scientists have developed a low-cost air pollution sensor that is easy to use and allows citizens to record and monitor air quality in their community.
Tina and her one-year-old daughter Clarissa live next to a steel mill in Mukuru, a pollution hotspot on the edge of Nairobi. The white powdery ash from the mill has to be washed away every day.
The particles and some other black smoke that normally comes out, that is the worst thing. When you breathe those particles, it's so painful.
At this local clinic, the number of cases of pneumonia, asthma and chest infections has doubled in the last 12 months. The World Health Organization recognizes air pollution as one of the causes. Cecilia can hardly breathe, and Borita's lung capacity is not what it should be. There are nearly 750,000 people living in this community, and many of them are struggling to breathe because of the air quality. There's a team of African scientists who have come up with ways of measuring the air quality here, and they think that it is a step forward in finding a solution to this problem. These low-cost air pollution sensors are easy to install. They detect and record the amount of dangerous small particles in the air. That data is then transmitted to a website where it can be accessed by anyone for free.
Our data is accurate, which means anyone in any city across any African country will be able to use it, deploy it, and get real-time local data for their neighborhoods that they can use to petition governments to solve problems that they face around air pollution.
That is what the community living next to this asphalt factory did after they started having breathing problems. They installed sensors in their homes.
Our campaign got the attention of the media and the government agencies that were ignoring us before. The director of the Environment Agency came over and instructed the factory to shut down and only open after they complied with the laws.
Another part of town, Rashida and Nazil, who like Tina live next to a steel mill, are still mourning their 2-year-old daughter who died in April. The cause of death was a respiratory disease that the doctors said could be caused by air pollution. Now they are worried about their surviving son.
Look at all these inhalers. I have to use this. The doctors are wondering, this is too much for him. He's only 6 years old. He's coughing. When he coughs for a whole full week.
Nazir believes that the data from the sensors in his community will help his campaign for clean air.
Data will not lie. Sensors will not lie. It's very clear. All you need to do is use that and you'll get the answers you need. That's all we need.
The hope is that this technology will empower communities like Tina and Clarissa's to fight for their right to clean air. Solomon Serwanja, BBC News, Nairobi.
Innovative solution to other stories. Now, having struggled throughout childhood to communicate with his deaf parents, Lucky Mashudu from Limpopo, South Africa, has created a hand glove which translates sign language into voice.
What is your name? What is your name?
The glove sensor translates sign language into voice. If you're a deaf person, when you sign, it's going to translate sign language into voice. My name is Laginechi Zatimashudo. I was raised and born in a family where all my parents are totally deaf. For me, growing up, it was a big challenge, because I couldn't able to communicate with my parents. I had an idea of developing a system that will minimize the communication barrier between me and my parents, which is a glove sensor communique.
Below.
Our future goals is also getting rid of the glove sensor. It's one of the projects that is also patented, where deaf people will just sign and the camera will detect the movement of their hands and translate it into voice. I want to bring voice to the deaf community, because deaf people, they can't be heard. But through the communique glove sensor, I want to be the brand ambassador of bringing voice to the voiceless community.
Amazing piece of work. It's now time to check out one of the many Nigerians doing amazing things around the world. Lisa Sumonu is the co-founder of CAN Foundation, an organization which seeks to improve lives of people residents in Lagos slums. She's passionate about reforming education in Nigeria and making it accessible to all. Let's check her out.
Hi, I'm Lisa Sumonu. I'm a project manager and co-founder of CAN Foundation. Check me out. I was born in Essex. Everyone that lived in Essex at the time when I was growing up was literally white. I was the only person who was African in my school. So it was a bit awkward as well for me, because I was, first of all, different in the way I looked, which I think at the time I wasn't really conscious of, because I didn't really have an idea of race, or I wasn't conscious about it, until people started calling me African Bubu. African Bubu essentially is kind of this caveman ideology, and it was usually from the whites, but also from the Jamaicans as well, who kind of thought they were superior to me because they were Jamaican. Growing up again, I used to be called Rubber Lips. I think the really good thing for me growing up was that my mum always made it clear to me that being African was a great thing and was awesome being Nigerian, so I always claimed the fact that I was Nigerian. I really, really enjoyed my secondary school years. That was perfect for me because there was more black kids in my school. There were more Nigerians at that time for me as well, so that was amazing. I always knew that I would go down the academic route because it was what I always thrived in. I appreciate the opportunity to kind of speak to other people, learn from them, but also kind of speak to them about what my understanding of certain things are as well. I'm currently a project manager and I work for a property developer and a housing association in London. And my role is to work on all the Section 106s for the company in terms of doing all of their social outreach, working with all the quantity surveyor in terms of numbers, crunching and budgeting for projects. So as a person who really loves traveling, so I travel to numerous countries. For example, I've been to Malta, I've been to Cancun, for example. So what I do is that I usually document all my travels via my YouTube channel, which for me is I really appreciate it because it gives me an opportunity to kind of show other people what I'm doing. And as part of that is kind of what I do in terms of documenting my move to Nigeria as well, talking about the things that I do when I'm here, but also kind of showing the world what Nigeria is, not just what they see on TV or what is kind of pushed by everyone else. I came back home because I always knew that I wanted to come back to Nigeria, number one, but there was this innate feeling in me as well to kind of give back to Nigeria as well. And what I mean by give back was from my privilege in terms of the opportunities I had had growing up in the UK, it was really important for me as well to kind of give a little bit of that back. One of the main things that makes me really, really happy about being in Nigeria and about just being here is just Nigeria. I really appreciate the fact that when I'm here, I'm not an outsider. I'm not different. Even if I'm from a different tribe to someone else, they are still my people. I'm the co-founder of CAN Foundation, and CAN Foundation essentially works to give back and kind of empower the community that we work in. We currently have over 700 students that go to our junior academy, and that number grows by the day. We have 16 members of staff, including teachers who teach our students. We also have training programs for the youth in the area and also parents of our students, training them to become tailors, for example, hairdressers, training them in using computers. So whatever it is their interests are, we provide that training for them and the funding for them to be able to chase it. When I initially thought about moving to Nigeria, I had a lot of backlash, people telling me that I won't fit in, it's going to be really hard, but I've done it, I'm doing it every day. You know, there are times that it's quite difficult, but because I have a real passion for it, I appreciate the opportunity to do it. I'm Lisa Simonu, co-founder of Can Foundation, and you've just checked me out.
And from that young Nigerian doing great work, we'll take a short reminder of our top story today. Gist Nigeria explores how internet fraudsters prey on unsuspecting victims. That's where we are drawing the curtains on the program today, but we want you to keep in touch, so connect with us on Twitter at Gist Nigeria TV. You can also get more updates from bbc.com/Africa and channelstv.com. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I am Wale Fakile. Goodbye.